welcome to another episode of the Lament Configuration Horror Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Fend, and I am joined today by, formerly banned from Croydon Radio, it is Greg Knox.
Such ancient times you've reminded me of there. I haven't thought about Croydon Radio for many years.
Hello, Greg, and we are back, and we are darker than the lining of Candyman's coat.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, we're back with another episode. So thank you to our returning listeners for joining us. And we've got some interesting video nasties again today from section 3.
Yes. So for anyone who has not listened to a show before, if this is your first show, hello, welcome to the show. Hope you enjoy it. Now, for those of you who've listened to the show for a while, you're going to know what video nasty is. In case you don't, very quick explanation. So we have previously covered Section 2 video nasties. So Section 2 in this context refers to the Obscene Publications Act in the UK. So basically, if you had a video that was on this Section 2 video nasties list, you were liable to be prosecuted under obscenity charges. However, there were also another list of 82 other video nasties that are Section 3 video nasties, which basically, if you were found to have one of these Section 3 video nasties on your person, you could just have it confiscated. Basically, like a naughty boy at school, having things you're not meant to have on you, they just take them from you and then that would be it. You wouldn't be arrested or anything like that. So, that's what Section 3 video nasty is essentially. So, yeah, we're covering all 82 of those. That is the plan.
Yeah, essentially, we like controversial films. And if you listen to this, you probably do too. So...
Yeah, that's a good reason to listen to the show, is only if you like banned films. And yes, some of our most popular episodes we've done have been the most controversial films that we've covered on the show. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and that covers cannibalism, Nazi horror movies, and
all the best films.
Yeah. All the gore. So, yeah, I'd like to give you a warning for today's episode and all the other episodes, in fact. So the warning is that we're uncensored, we're spoilerific, graphic, gory, we cover adult topics, death, shock, and just one massive trigger warning to all of you. So strap in because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Although the films we're going to talk about today maybe are not going to be problematic as such under most kind of considerations. Yeah, it's just spoilers essentially you need to worry about on the show because they're not very violent.
I would agree. I mean, this is like evidence that some of the films that made it to the list didn't necessarily need to be there, perhaps.
No, and we're going to talk about on the show because we are talking about slasher films. Now, on the last run, the Section 2 video nasties, we talked about quite a few slasher films that made it to the Section 2 list. I refer you specifically to episode 4, way back in the day, where we talked about The Burning and Dawn Drip Blood and Night School, which were slasher films from the very early 80s, which made it to the Section 2 video nasties list. And we have 2 more films from that same period that are Section 3 video nasties, and we're going to talk about that in a sec. But as always, we've got our regular segment where Rhea and me are going to talk about films that we've been watching very recently. So, Rhea, you are very excited because you finally got a chance to watch the new Toxic Avenger movie.
Yeah, post-Fright Fest, I managed to catch an early screening at Cineworld of Toxic Avenger, and it has Lloyd Kaufman in it. That's not too much of a spoiler because I really wanted him to be in it, so I was so glad that he was there. And there's a lot of nods to the original and to Trauma, and yeah, I mean, perhaps not as great as I wanted it to be, but it's a movie that I had a lot of fun watching.
Cool. So is it up there with like the original? Because I know the original we're seeing like this cult classic now, isn't it? So
I have to say I think I prefer the original, but it was good to see what they could do with it these days with like better effects. And
is it better than the sequels?
Yeah, Elijah Wood's really good in it as well. So
yeah, I mean he's always good.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
Cool. So recommended?
I recommend it. Yep.
Awesome. And what else? What else have you been watching? Very regular sort of Cineworld trips.
Yeah. I've watched some good stuff actually over the last few weeks. Surprising how much there was, because we're not even at Halloween yet. So it's left me a little bit apprehensive for what we are actually going to get for Halloween, because I feel like most of the stuff's come out by this point in the year. We're in September. So I watched The Conjuring Last Rites. I got a preview of that, which was really great. So that's Conjuring 4, which I thought was really cool. I think these films succeed in being quite scary. They do jump scares, but not in a cliche way, and I like that about them.
Yeah, I've seen the first 3 proper Conjuring films. I watched The Nun. I was quite bored by The Nun. It's not
Yeah.
to me. But the first 2, the James Wan Conjuring films, to me, they're the best kind of
Agree.
Conjuring films. It's interesting because, I'll just say I work with people who are not hardcore horror fans like we are, and they are like super excited for this new Conjuring film.
Yeah.
And one of them's seen it and they said it was all right according to them, but and I mean this in a loving way. I do not mean this as a pejorative, that they are normie, quote unquote, horror fans. So they're not.
Agree.
They like what they like.
Agree. And I think to like die-hard horror fans like myself, it's almost like a bit of a comfort movie, because you sort of know what you're getting with it. And they definitely aren't as good after James Wan wasn't directing them anymore. Like, I think for me, his work stands out the most. I like the first 2, but it's still a really good entry to the franchise. And apparently this is the highest grossing franchise in horror of all time. It's made such a lot of money.
This was like a huge surprise, because people thought, it's a new Conjuring film. The last one didn't do that well, kind of financially. It's going to be the last one. But no, it made something like $185 million worldwide, which is mental.
It's absolutely crazy. So I'm really glad that it's done that well in terms of for the horror genre.
Cool. Any other new films that you've seen?
Yeah, so I enjoyed that one. I also saw last night, I saw The Long Walk, which is the new horror film based on the Stephen King book. And honestly, I thought it absolutely was it slapped. It was awesome.
It slapped.
It slapped. It
Serve
was
cunt, as they say on the internet.
It was so good. You have to see this. I think that you're going to really like it.
Is it a horror film, is what I'd say?
So when it starts, I was thinking this can't possibly be a horror film. And I looked it up online, and everywhere says it's a horror film, and it has a lot of the elements of horror, but it doesn't feel like a traditional horror, which is I think why I really liked it. So there were points in this movie where I actually cried because it's so emotional. And there are points where I was hiding my eyes because it's so shocking. And I don't take that lightly, because I watch a lot of movies like this. So this doesn't happen a lot when I'm hiding my eyes in the cinema.
Right. So I remember reading this years ago when I was in my proper Stephen King phase.
Oh, you read it.
So this is a Richard Bachman story that he did.
Mm-hmm.
So I read it when I was a teenager, so this was many years ago at this point. Stephen King, we talked about this the first episode back, Stephen King post It, Gerald's Game and Doctor Sleep. He's had these films now where they've come and they've done very well, and this sounds like it's another one of those, which is awesome for Steve.
Well,
Steve.
Stevie, he's smashing it this year, because he's got 4 out this year that he's written based stories on, which is The Monkey, which I've already seen, which I loved.
Yeah.
Running Man is out not too far away, later this year. Very much looking forward to that. And also The Life of Chuck, which I didn't put it on my list here for what I've watched, but I did watch it last week and I thought it was excellent. But it's debatable whether it's horror, because it's not an out-and-out horror. It's more of a drama thriller with elements of horror, I guess. Yeah,
I've heard of it, and it's Mike Flanagan, who is a horror director, but it's not a horror film as such. It's more like a fantasy film.
Yeah, agree. And it has that feeling of, you can tell it's directed by a horror director, because, it has that kind of ominous feeling, but it sort of gave me Benjamin Button and Forrest Gump vibes.
Right, okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've actually seen a couple of films as well, not to make this all Rhea. I thought I'd join in a little bit as well. So I watched the remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was not very good.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, that's still quite new. It wasn't out very long ago, was it? But I didn't really rate it either.
No, it's just very annoying characters, very shallow, superficial characters, just annoying dialogue, just didn't really care what was going on. And the main kind of plot development, from the original, they totally fucked it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's like horror films being made by people who are like too scared to kind of do anything that's even slightly transgressive, even stuff that isn't transgressive. They're like, oh, well, we can't have like characters actually do bad things, otherwise people won't want to like support them at all. So characters must be good at all times. And all right, good luck with that.
I was quite looking forward to seeing like Freddie Prinze Jr. in it and like some of the original cast, but even that just didn't do it for me. It's just weak.
It was not as bad as Ellen Burstyn in The Exorcist Believer, because that was an atrocity. But yeah, I agree with you. I also saw a film that I quite liked, and I'm shocked. I'm just as shocked as you guys. So I try and watch indie horror as much as I can, because a lot of my kind of films that, while they weren't my favorite films of like the previous decade, there are a lot of films that I saw that I quite liked, that I thought, this is quite interesting. And one of these films that came out a couple of years ago, but it's only just appeared online, is a film called Cannibal Mukbang. Now,
okay.
You're going to say, Greg, this is a film called Cannibal Mukbang. What are you talking about? How can this be good? And yeah, I agree. It's, on the surface, it sounds very silly because it's about a guy who goes on a date with this woman who's a mukbanger. So for those of you who don't know what mukbang is, basically these are people who are on YouTube or on streaming sites and they eat very slowly, and the sounds from them eating help people relax.
Oh.
And it's a Korean thing, and like people are really into mukbanging now. It's like super popular.
Yeah, it's big in Japan as well, eh?
Yeah, it's big in that part of the world, let's just say. And yeah, this woman is a mukbanger, and cannibal mukbang, so that kind of gives you a clue. And you think, well, this is very silly, this sounds like it would be like a trauma film, ironically. And yeah, on the surface it sounds like that, but I actually got on quite well with the characters. I liked the main character, I liked the main female character. I thought it was quite well made, and it didn't go the sort of predictable route that you'd think it would go. And I quite enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to people. It's on Tubi now, if you want to watch it, if you're in America, or you can get on the American Tubi, if you know the secret way to do that. Get a VPN, basically. So that one, I do kind of weirdly recommend it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So yeah.
Cannibal Mukbang, guys.
Yeah, Cannibal Mukbang. Yeah, very surprising. But yeah, a film that I liked very much. Cool. So that is what we've watched. Stay tuned for our continuing adventures of cinema in the year 2025. So today, as I mentioned at the start of the show, we're going to talk about slasher films. So we've got 2 slasher films on the docket for the show today. Now, as I said, slasher films, not uncommon for the video nasties. So we talked about The Burning, which we really liked, which is from 1981. Or we talked about, The Dormant Drip Blood, which was okay, Night School, which was okay, and a few others like The Fun House by Toby Hooper.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty good, sort of underrated.
Yeah,
and,
we've done some decent ones in the past. There was some quality slashers back then.
Yeah, sure. And I also did a show kind of about the history of slasher films already, which was episode 20, which was the 2 of us and my friend Tom Dennett Cook. So that was a fun show to do. Please go back and listen to it. So essentially, you've got Psycho. Psycho then kind of influences a lot of films in the 60s and the early 70s. 70s is a weird time. There's lots of serial killers on the prowl, killing people like hitchhikers and all that type of thing. And that kind of bleeds through into films. And then through exploitation, that scene, you get films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you get certain tropes that kind of then bleed through, and then you get Black Christmas, and then you get Halloween, which obviously does really well and is very successful, and then you get When a Stranger Calls, then you get Friday the 13th, and this is when there's a huge explosion. So that's a very, very short history of the slasher film. So this is kind of where we are now. So both the films we're talking about are from 1981, which is the most prolific period of the slasher film. A lot of really good slasher films came out in 1981. Talking about My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
And Halloween 2, which is pretty good, I think, and The Prowler, which is all right, and etc. And then we get the 2 films we're going to talk about on the show today.
Not necessarily good.
No, not necessarily good at all, no. So both of the films today have a bit of a theme. So if you're at school and you're coming to the end of your time at the school, say you're in your last year, you're going to do your final exam. which, as I said, came out in 1981 and is directed by Jimmy Houston, who this is apparently not his most popular film. According to Letterboxd, his most popular film is called My Best Friend is a Vampire, which is a horror comedy from 1987. Probably won't be watching that after this. And as always, Rhea is going to give you the very thin story of Final Exam.
Yeah. So the synopsis is, an unknown nameless psycho killer shows up on a college campus to slash up pretty co-eds and dumb jocks on the final day of exams. I mean, yeah, it's basic. I feel like this is one of those slasher movies that's like about teenagers, for teenagers to watch, and there's not a lot to it. I mean, the good thing about this is that it's like an 80s time capsule, really. And like the best thing about probably these two movies is like the 80s style, the music, the hair, you know, mainly in this film, mainly the hair, you know.
All right, okay. I mean, we've all got to grab onto like some little things, I guess, to kind of get by. Yeah.
I mean, both of these movies, and obviously we'll talk about the second one later, are like so cheesy, so ridiculously cheesy. Yeah, it's off the scale.
Pretty much, yeah. I would say the next film is more cheesy.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got to be honest, I just found this film a bit boring for the most part.
It is.
Not a lot going on, bar a couple of things.
I think there's like an entire hour where nobody gets killed.
Yeah.
And then suddenly everybody gets killed after that. It's like, how is that?
Pacing is so bad in this film.
Yeah, it's terrible. And like initially I was like, oh wow, this film's got two characters in it called Radish and Wildman. Like, count me in. But then, yeah, it's really not as good as it sounds.
Yeah. So as you brought that up, yeah, let's talk about it. So yes, there is a character called Wildman. That is his actual name. And yeah, that character is basically just a stereotypical kind of dumb jock guy who just wants to party all the time. He's in this fraternity as well, which is sort of the center of the film. So basically, culturally at this point, the early 80s is known for two things. It's known for slasher films, and it's known for sort of films like Porky's.
Yeah.
And before this, obviously, you had National Lampoon's Animal House, which is all about fraternities. And so this is kind of bled into this film. So this film is a very blatant rip-off of Halloween, especially in certain bits that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole fraternity storyline comes from National Lampoon's Animal House. So yeah, you have this guy who's clearly meant to be like the John Belushi of this film, where it's like, yeah, he just wants to party. But yeah, this character has nothing to him at all. If I look at The Burning, let's mention The Burning again 3 times to keep count. The jock character in that is Glazer. He's got way more to him, and it's not a deep character at all by any means, but the character is a lot more likable, and you can kind of feel something. This character just not even that important a character, but yeah, just pretty poor.
Well, the kind of level of like filmmaking, it feels a bit like a Hallmark type movie, doesn't it? Like this kind of tranquil music and like piano music and
very soap opera-y.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. The other character, which is given some kind of depth, is Radish. As you mentioned, what a name, by the way.
Cool name, though.
Fucking Radish. So what is it with these films and the names? Like in the last show, we had like John and Bob. And in this film, we have Radish.
Yeah.
And he is, I guess, the closest thing to an actual sort of developed character in this film. Not in the terms of like anything that happens to him, but it's like, oh, he's a bit of a nerd. He is, you know, if he was in a film in 2025, he'd have his own true crime podcast.
Yeah.
About serial killers, or he'd be a massive incel. He'd be on like 4chan or something like that. He'd go that direction. But yeah, in this film, he's a geek. He's sort of bullied, but not properly bullied. He's kind of get hazed a little bit by like the jocks, and he's a bit of a gimpy nerd. I'll just say that. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's like American college, which is university age for us, isn't it? Because we're British and it's different here. But yeah, there's a hell of a lot of cliches in this. I mean, all the sort of slasher rules that you shouldn't, things that you shouldn't do that they now sort of poke fun at in joke slasher movies. All the usual tropes are in here. So like people that have sex will die. You know, if you go into the
Yeah.
woods, you will die. If you're in a soft top convertible and you're making out with your girlfriend, you're going to die.
If you go in a room and there's no one there and you just start shouting people's names randomly, like you will die or there will be a jump scare.
Yeah. If you go into the basement and you're looking around, you're definitely going to die.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's so bad.
So there's a lot of that.
Yeah. And it's not just the guys who have shady kind of characters. So the female characters aren't exactly given a lot of depth either. So you have the final girl who is an old school final girl, I would say, because this ain't no girl boss final girl, I'll tell you that. This is sort of some, nice girl, just wants to study and is basically in the last sort of 15 minutes just total like damsel in distress, kind of can't really protect herself, kind of just needs to run away until she's able to kill our killer, who I'll get onto in a sec.
And there's a lot of this one wouldn't be depicted now. Maybe it would, but in a bad way. But there's a lot of kind of like positive depiction of that it's okay to be really flirty between teachers and students.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of seedy behaviour in both movies.
Yeah. I know. It's a different time, shall we say, because, like you said, in both films, there's examples of like these much older guys essentially kind of having
young
inappropriate
students.
Relations with their students who are much younger than them.
And they all have wives at home cheating on them, and they talk about it as well. In fact, one of them, like, this is a direct quote, says, I love that the sweet young girls that throw themselves at me. And then she says something to him like, it's your last chance for some nice firm flesh for a while. And she points out that his sagging old wife is almost 30.
Oh no.
Ancient.
Yeah, fucking like decrepit wife at home. Jesus Christ, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's just so bad.
One of them also says that he basically accepts bribes. Like, did you notice that bit where?
Yeah, sure.
He says, "Oh, for the right price, I would show you the test paper so you can cheat." And it's like, holy shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think this is meant to be like an actual proper example of like the college system in America. But, it's
very over the top.
Yeah, the secondary characters in this, they're mostly Southern. So it's hilarious. You've got this town sheriff who's like, oh, yo home, like that type of like Southerner.
Proper redneck.
Yeah.
Like.
And in both films, actually, there's a character who's like a campus police officer. So they're on campus. I don't know if they're actually proper policemen or not, but they're just there to kind of make sure everyone's staying out of trouble, essentially. And this guy was just very short and just sounded like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. No. I couldn't understand a fucking word he was saying for like the 3 lines he had. It was just...
I didn't understand why all the authorities were Southern either. It's quite strange, but maybe it's some kind of way of like, I don't know, poking fun at them, because they do that stereotypical kind of, hick or redneck character as like, something to mock in these kind of films.
Yeah, you're not meant to take them seriously. But yeah, I'll just say this, there's not a lot of story development in this film. It's just not much happens. Like, in fairness, in Friday the 13th, not a lot actually happens. If you ignore the murders, it's just a bunch of people at a campsite who are just getting ready for the kids to arrive, and they're, playing around and all this type of stuff. And it's the same in this. There's only one very kind of strange event that happens. It's about 10 minutes into the film. So there is a final exam, which is not the actual final exam, because in the film they talk about, I have another exam the next day. But anyway, the beginning of the film is all about a chemistry exam, which is very random. And the guy in the film who's the head of this fraternity basically doesn't want to do this exam, or he has to get a certain grade to pass and not have to do summer school or whatever. So he cheats, and the way he cheats, I've not seen in any other film. It's actually very bizarre. So if you would like to explain kind of how they managed to cheat in this film.
Yeah, so they, as a joke, and I'm doing finger quotes, joke.
As a crazy prank, guys.
Yeah, they sort of engineer a mock mass shooting, and all these guys in balaclavas or like masks or whatever, they they roll out of a van and they start shooting people. And it kind of looks real in the film, but then afterwards they know that it's fake. So they pick up the two guys that they've apparently shot, again, finger quotes, shot, and they pile them into the van, and everybody thinks that this is real. And then they know it's a joke, but they kind of don't really tell anyone that. So somebody calls the sheriff, and then afterwards they have to say, oh no, it was just a joke, it wasn't real, it's part of this hazing fraternity thing, this like gamma,
this hilarious prank, mass shooting prank. Yes. As they do. You can tell it was America. But this is pre-Columbine, because there's no way you'd be able to do this now. Definitely,
absolutely not. I mean, anybody who even did that now would be arrested just for like imposing that onto people.
Yeah, the wacky world of like Ronald Reagan's America of the early 80s.
Yeah, so you get the picture. It's like a lot of jock jerks or whatever, they're all kind of assholes that just all they care about is playing pranks on each other.
Or like there's this one guy, I think his name's Gary, who wants to join this gamma fraternity, so they do this hazing ritual on him where they tie him to a tree, put ice down his pants. Yeah, hilarious.
Strip him off. Yeah, and then leave him there. And, of course, that leaves him vulnerable to being killed by a serial killer.
Moving on to the serial killer. So you mentioned him at the start. It's a random guy. In my notes, I've just referred to him as some guy.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's not given a name.
Stalkery vibes. Stalkery vibes. It's like the typical kind of, I don't know if it's like a hood or you just see the back of his head, I think, and then like gloves or whatever. But that's it, really. He just kind of lurks in the shadows.
Pretty much, yeah. Not given a name, doesn't even wear a mask or anything like that. It's just literally just a guy with a knife who's a bit strong.
Yeah.
And we don't know why he's killing these specific people.
It's not explained, is it?
Which I guess you can make the argument that because it's quote unquote random and unprovoked, it's scarier, but it really isn't at all.
No, it isn't. And there's no like big reveal or anything like that. There's no explanation. Nope. It's just kind of like he does this for... Well, there's a big gap in the film where he does nothing. And then he comes back, kills lots of people, and then at the end, the final girl gets him. It's like, oh, yay. But nothing really, there's no real consequences or...
No. So that aspect is quite boring. And yeah, the kills, moving on to them, because with slash film, basically all there is to really talk about is body count. So yeah, the kills themselves, they're mostly bloodless.
Yeah.
They're off screen. So you're waiting for like an hour nearly to get to any kind of bloodshed or whatever. And a lot of it you don't even see. So you don't even get that kind of relief from it. So there really is no reason to watch this in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of creativity with it either. It's like the stereotypical sort of stabbing with a knife slasher. And that's it really. I mean, I did do the kill count, and 8 people die in this, including the stalker serial killer at the end. But yeah, there's not a lot of surprise here. I mean, it's in different locations, like through the car roof and stuff like that, but not a lot of variety in it, and kind of just predictable, really.
Yeah, the only kind of murder scene that I thought had a little bit to it is bringing him back again, Wildman. Like his murder scene was staged a little bit better than the others because he's in this basketball court. It's dark apart from like the scoreboard at the top.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of atmosphere to it. It's kind of in the dark, and then he gets killed by like a weightlifting machine, I guess.
Yeah, which is very on brand for him as like a sports, as like an athlete.
He's looking for pills. That was another random thing that happened in the film where like, let's sell some pills.
Yeah, they suddenly introduced random drugs into like over halfway into the movie. It's like suddenly this new element like is introduced. And yeah, the bit where the scoreboard like buzzed at the end, like they were out of time, was quite clever after the death. That was the only bit that was like vaguely decent.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the only other one, I guess, is there's the character who's like the quote-unquote slut, not my words. But yeah, like the one who is the friend of the main character, who the main character is jealous of because, well, her friend is amoral, essentially. Her friend is like, well, I'm just going to use my good looks and try and like, manipulate men to like get what I want in life.
Yeah.
It's like, because apparently men have it really easy, according to this film, so...
It's that bit's pretty cliche and tasteless, and
and like she is the one who obviously then has the nude scene where she gets naked very randomly. I found that scene quite funny. She's just playing the piano in this empty room. I think she's waiting for this teacher who she's fucking to like arrive. I assume that's what she was doing. And she's just playing the piano in the dark, as you do, turns up and just, well, I guess I'll just put this dressing gown. Took her dress off. She had no underwear on. As you do, again.
Random.
And then, she's just waiting for this teacher to turn up, and then the killer turned up, killed her. There's some blood splatter, which is okay, but nothing
again,
special.
it cuts away, doesn't it? And you just see kind of her legs, like limp legs, and then the blood splatter on it, and it's like, you don't really see much, so.
Yeah. Or even, like, the spoiler for, like, the end of the film and that, but, like, when the killer actually does die, the final girl, Courtney, like, when she batters this guy to death, or sort of to death, with a big plank of wood, and he falls many stories, somehow doesn't die. But that's always the way of these slasher films. Even that is a bit like silly, because this guy, the football coach, turns up with a bow and arrow, which is hilarious. If this was now, he'd have a gun.
That's just so weird. Who brings a bow and arrow?
And like he tries shooting this guy, and then he gets killed with his own arrow, which is pretty silly, but
bizarre.
And then the end of the film is just this huge kind of metaphor, because Courtney's this like repressed character, and she stabs this guy over and over and over again, penis, that type of thing going on. And that was it really.
But cheesy as hell, and a lot of like misogynistic stereotypes in this, including like women just kind of sleeping with men to get what they want, and that whole bit about where she eats spaghetti and then she says she wishes she had a salad. I was like, what the hell are they?
I forgot about
Why are they implying that? It's just like, shut up. It's so random.
It's the early 80s. Like, you kind of have to take this for what it is. But it's just very of its time, shall we say. I don't think it's meant to be taken that seriously. The people who made this film clearly were just trying to make some dodgy sort of rip-off of Halloween. And it does rip off Halloween a couple of times. There's one very particular sequence where they're ripping off sort of where Laurie Strode is in her room and Michael Myers is just in the background, like, outside. They do that with some guy in the film. And it's just... And even the last 15 minutes, I think, is a rip-off of the last 15 minutes of Halloween, where she's running away. And
did you catch that bit where he stabbed the guy with the bow and arrow, with the arrow, and then the killer catches it like he's Mr. Miyagi or something? It's like, what the fuck? It's like it flies towards her and he catches it with his bare hand. It's like, what?
Yeah, that was very silly. We're both on Letterboxd. As you guys all know, if you listen to the show regularly. So myself and Rhea have rated this film on Letterboxd. So drum roll, please. What do you guys think that Rhea rated this film? I'll give you a second. So
1.5 stars.
1.5 stars. Classic.
How many did you give it, Greg?
So I gave it a massive 2 out of 5.
Oh, wow. Staggering.
It's bad, but I have seen worse.
I mean, it's kind of one of those conveyor belt mass-produced slasher movies. It's what you would expect from the 80s. It's not particularly good.
No. And, let's ask a very silly question. Should this have been a video nasty, guys? Considering there was very little blood.
I don't think so. You don't see a lot of the killings.
No, I have no idea how this would have even been under consideration. I think this is just evidence that they were just, is this a slasher? Yes, let's just put it on the list. Although, weird bit of trivia. So, at the end of the film, Courtney stabs this guy 12 times. It was meant to be 18 times, but the MPAA in America were going to give this film an X rating because she stabbed him 18 times. So they said, well, let's do it 12 times instead. And then it was R-rated.
So much better.
It's just like, this huge difference. Fuck, can't have him stabbed that many times. So crazy.
What a weird logic. Anyway,
it's not like ratings boards, so like make a lot of sense with these things. So not a great film. Not really recommended by me, not recommended by Rhea.
No.
Weird side note, this film somehow made over $1 million at the box office and would have been number 7 in the charts. So apparently a lot of people went to see this.
Unbelievable.
Back in the day.
Well, there wasn't as much choice back then. So that's probably why.
It's 1981, so it's just like, what slasher film are we going to watch today?
I could imagine it being one of those typical American, like, drive-in, like, Saturday night date movie type things. I guess that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. The only other thing I'll say, it has been suggested that Radish is kind of like a precursor to like Randy from the Scream films because he's like a horror nerd and he's got like a poster of the toolbox murders in his room and he knows about serial killers and that.
He had some quite cool posters in his room, actually. I spotted another couple. There was like Corpse Grinders, which is a 1971 B movie.
Yeah.
He had the Helter Skelter Charles Manson book on his like bedside table.
Yeah.
And there was another movie as well, Murder Is My Beat, which is a 1955 movie. So it's a pretty cool posters.
Yeah. And it's not too overplayed, I would say, him kind of knowing about stuff. Yes, he does talk about kind of, there was this serial killer. He has a great line as well, which, I mean, you know, just, at one point he says, people are killed every day for no reason at all. Which I think is quite prescient given events of the last few days as we're recording this, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, I'll say no more than that.
Yeah, shootings as well.
Mass shootings at a school.
Very current. But yeah, Radish, what a what a legend that guy is.
Yeah, and I think if the characters had been a bit more developed like he was, maybe this would have been a better film.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, one critic said that this was better than Halloween. I don't know what that guy was watching. He certainly wasn't watching this. I'll just say that. But if you are that guy... that random critic, or, you know, you do want to watch this, there's actually not that many options to watch it. What a shame.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch this on streaming, in America, it's available on a service called Philo, whatever that is. Philo Pastry, maybe.
I've never heard of Philo, but yeah.
In Spain, it's available on Prime Video and Film In. And in Germany and Austria, it's available from a service called Frenetic. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's how you would watch it.
Can't get it on Blu-ray?
You can get it on Blu-ray as well. So you can get it on Blu-ray in America from Shout Factory and again in Austria from a company called Shock Entertainment. So not available in the UK. What a shame. We can't buy it if we wanted to.
I'm guessing you won't be adding that to your library.
No, I don't think 88 Films in their slasher collection or Arrow, I think, are gagging to add this anytime soon. So, yeah. That one is not recommended. I'll just say that. Just a bit of a boring one. And then we move on to, you know, so you've had your final exam, so you've done that. And then you come to Graduation Day, which is also from 1981. It's directed by Herb Fried.
Such a cool name, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, very much so. And I believe it wasn't made by them, but it was released by Troma. So
yes, it was actually. I remember that now.
Yeah, so it's one of their films that they would have bought the rights to back in the day, which makes sense if you've seen the film.
Yeah.
And Rhea, what is the story of this one?
A masked killer begins murdering students on the school track team after a track runner dies upon completion of a 30-second 200-meter race. High drama here, guys. It's basically members of a track team being picked off, but... yeah, I mean, this is a much better movie. I enjoyed it because it was silly fun, and it's quite disco. It's cheesy as hell. There's a lot of fun music in it and montages, and there's a lot of sports in this.
Yeah, so this and another film which came out a couple of years later, which is called Fatal Games, are quite similar, where you have a track team or a sports team at a school who there's an event or an incident that happens and then someone kills them one at a time. Fatal Games, what I remember, is similar to this, but just cheaper.
Yeah.
And a bit less good.
So it took me quite a while until like nearly the end of the film to sort of get all the information about how the girl actually dies. So apparently she gets pushed too hard by the running coach, the track coach. She gets a blood clot. I wrote down here heart problem ? But he pushes her too hard with her running practice and she just keels over in the middle of the track and dies.
Yeah.
It's quite bizarre. So that's death number one right there.
Yeah. So the opening of this, I think, is sort of the best thing in the film.
Oh, I was creasing up at that.
Because the music is hilarious.
It's this song, Everybody Wants to Be the Winner, that they clearly had written just especially for the film, and it's not very good, but it is hilarious.
Which is by this band called Felony. They're all over this film.
My other favourite scene in this movie is the second scene with Felony in the roller rink, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, sure. But other great things about this movie, Linnea Quigley's in it.
She is.
She's lovely.
Doing what she normally does in these films, which is play a character who's really horny and gets her boobs out.
Yeah, and there's this one part near the end of the movie when she's going to get killed and her blouse just springs open. But the stupid thing is, there is no continuity in it because in the next scene it's like fully closed again. I was just like, what the fuck? They messed that one up.
Yeah, it's one of those films. Yeah. Going back to the opening credit sequence for a second, all over this film, the editor of this film must have had like a great time making it because there's so many bits of it where there's just so much like editing going on where it's just very fast editing.
Yeah.
Like that section is just hilarious. It's like a music video.
Yeah.
And then there's a gymnastics scene later on, which is also cut like a music video. Or there's bits where like literally stuff will just cut like every half a second. Like
it's crazy. It's like it's flashing on the screen.
Yeah, and like in the last 15 minutes as well. It's just So the editor, like I said, had a grand old time making this. So much editing going on,
noodling about.
Yeah. So as we've covered, this is one of those slasher films where there's an incident. A very random incident that doesn't really make sense. So yeah, you've got a girl who's apparently well enough and fit enough to run and win a sort of 100 meter, 200 meter race, whatever it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But she just collapses and dies
on the track.
As you do. Okay, cool, whatever. And yeah, these people are all athletes, but they're all somehow managed to be quite easily killed.
Yeah, and it's got a variety of like Olympic sports for the track team. So it's like hurdles, shot put, javelin, and
pole vault. There's one of those in there.
Yeah, and lots more running and sprinting and American football as well.
Yeah. So what I would say about this film is, so it's not boring. So it's got that going for it. But I think we're going to have to spoil who the killer is to talk about certain things. We'll try not to, and we will warn you when we're going to do that if you have not seen this film. But yes, it's essentially, this girl dies, and wouldn't you know it, someone is killing off all the members of the athletics team at this school.
One by one.
And the coach is like this guy who like is very uncaring, who's played by Christopher George, him again. Welcome back, Christopher George. I quite
liked it that it was a murder mystery aspect, and I was, sort of trying to guess and had a few different ideas.
Okay, it's sort of Giallo-esque because the killer wears black gloves at one point, although they start wearing like a fencing uniform at one point.
Oh, that part's hilarious.
Which is quite funny.
The other thing that was funny was that they also had this stopwatch kind of gimmick where it was like, each kill takes 30 seconds and they time it like they're on the track. And it just didn't really work. It's just a bit lame, but they just obviously kept it in there as this little gimmick, this novelty.
I've seen worse gimmicks. I'll say that. I mean, at least it's sort of like, okay, it's a stopwatch gimmick. Yeah. As someone who watches a lot of Giallo, has been established by the show.
Yeah.
A lot of those, obviously, they are murder mysteries. And if you watch a lot of them, you get accustomed to how these films tend to work. So there'll be characters who are obvious red herrings.
Yeah.
Where there's characters who are clearly a bit sleazy or they're a bit creepy or there's something about them and it's like, well, it's not them because that'd be too obvious. So then it comes down to, things where they're trying to show their hand a bit too much. They're trying to, so there's a character in this who is, I think, meant to be the main character, but is
the sister, Anne. Yeah, she's kind of meant to be the main character, but
she disappears after about 20 minutes and she's then really hardly in the film.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like they kind of put her like front and center, but it doesn't really work.
No.
She kind of ties it together, like she goes around investigating things, but she's not actually really part of the life there, so it's just kind of strange.
No. And this is one of those films, which is hilarious, where characters all die and no one notices that they're dead.
Yeah.
And they don't seem that bothered.
No.
Just like, there's a girl who dies in the first 10 minutes of the film. She's the first, apart from Laura.
Yeah.
She's the first character who's actually murdered in the film.
Yeah.
And no one seems to notice that girl is missing.
Yeah.
And she's missing for 90% of the film.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. She's the character with like the giant red headphones on.
Yeah.
While she's running. Great bit of 80s accessories there.
Yeah. And there's like even one part towards the end of the movie where people, irate parents are phoning up the sheriff and the principal of the school, and the sheriff is just saying, "Oh, it's fine. They'll just be messing around. They're just, being wild.
They're just kids.
Students.
They're just messing about."
And he's just not even interested in looking for them. In fact, the inspector that goes to school says he hates going to schools and he doesn't want to be there. He finds it claustrophobic, and it's like bizarre, isn't it?
That's this Joe Rogan-looking sheriff. Who appears over an hour into the film, which kind of goes to show kind of like how seriously people take this, like these kids just being murdered. That bit kind of just comes and is like sort of glossed over. There's a lot of kind of bad sort of comedic bits, like with the principal and his secretary.
Oh my God.
Her name is Blondie.
It really wound me up that they called her Blondie, because I remember I did a bit of, I had like a little featured role on I won't say which TV soap it was in the UK. And it was me and this other guy, and we were being given a name in the script, and he got like a proper name, like, I don't know what the hell it was. Let's say Dave. And then they said, "Oh, we'll put your name in the script as well. We're going to call you Blondie." And I was like, oh God. For people who've not seen photos of me, I do have blonde hair, and it's not a name in a script. So later on, another woman comes in there. I can't remember who it was. Was it Anne? And she calls her Blondie as well. And I'm like, oh, so it's not just the principal being kind of like insulting, or just he can't be bothered to use her name. So
I know what you were talking about, because I had the same experience. I was like, no, wait, that's her actual name.
Yeah, and then the credits roll and it says Blondie, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
This woman didn't even get a name in the script.
Yeah. I don't want to make out, I am moaning about the film a lot. I don't want to make out it's entirely bad. I would say the deaths, when they do happen, are at least paced better. So a bit more consistent in the film. Some of the deaths are actually quite creative. There's one in particular that is very funny that we'll talk about in a sec.
I mean, so legitimately, there were parts of this movie that really had me laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Like, I had a good time watching it, and I did really enjoy the music.
Yeah. And the funniest scene, though, and there always is a scene like this in these slasher films where it's on prom night. That's another Section 3 video nasty, by the way, where there is a scene in a hall or whatever, and there's a band playing, and they'll be playing for 5 minutes non-stop.
Yeah.
There's a thing about these slashers from the very early 80s where there'll be a band in them. In New Year's Evil, there is a band playing for like 5 minutes, like uninterrupted or whatever. It's just hilarious, like just blatant.
So it's Felony again, and as you know, I used to play roller derby, and I'm a big fan of roller skating, so I love this in this movie. There's also this part where this random guy just does breakdancing, and it's just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, you can't get more 80s than that, can you?
Oh, it's so good. Like, yeah, a band with like a roller hockey hall, like a roller disco, and then just random breakdancing.
Although,
what a treat. That
happens, and there are two characters that get decapitated. One in very kind of like, okay, they're actually showing someone losing their head, and this crap music is playing throughout it, which does kind of like undermine the tension.
It's called Gangster Rock, that song. Yeah, I did look it up, and they're like an LA new wave sort of 80s band. But yeah, it does sound kind of like 80s sort of 80s rock, kind of more towards hard rock, but yeah, new wave 80s.
Yeah. So again, it's a body count film.
Yeah.
So Rhea, unlive scribe that she is.
Yeah.
So how many deaths were in this one? Are there more than Final Exam?
Yeah, more than final exam. So 10 altogether, and that's if you count Laura, who had the blood clot. So she wasn't actually murdered. So it's 9 from the serial killer, or 9 with the serial killer, and 10 with the victim at the beginning, who sort of died of natural causes, I guess.
And yeah, some of the deaths are quite funny. There's the fencing death.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the fencing theme stuff just really made me laugh as well, because it's like, I don't know, it's unusual, it's quite creative, but it's contrived as hell.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who did fencing for a little bit at school in PE, because I went to a posh school, yeah, so it's like, oh, I know that. Although
we definitely didn't have that in the north, in Manchester, where I grew up.
No, I think you'd get thrown out of town if you tried doing that up north.
It's more of a football rugby kind of vibe there.
Yeah, but like those swords, there's no way you'd be able to impale someone on a fencing sword. I'll just say that. So that's not realistic. You definitely wouldn't be able to decapitate someone with one.
Yeah.
Say that.
Well, I mean, it was quite cool how they themed some of the deaths with the sport that they do. So like American football and pole vault, and you know, there was some thought that went into it. It wasn't just like with final exam where they just stabbed with a knife each time.
Yeah, sure. The best death by far is the pole vaulting death.
Loved it.
Because it's hilarious.
Loved it. Because, like, he pole vaults himself over the bar, and then on the other side, he'd failed to notice that there were spikes all over the mat, and he just just goes directly onto them, and they go through all of his limbs in like quite an organised fashion.
Yeah, like I don't know how you wouldn't. Oh, by the way, there's these spikes there. I should probably move them. Nope, just going to do it, not check.
Yeah, just not check if there's anything on the mat. Just like vault over there and hope for the best. But even weirder was like towards the end, and I guess, no, this is not really a spoiler because it's not like a huge plot point. But later on, the killer has kind of saved some of the bits of the bodies, and he's like in a cupboard hanging up. It's really weird. It's like, why would you hook him inside a cupboard and then the cupboard magically opens and there he is hanging there? It's so strange.
That's just a slasher thing. Like, there's always, that's one of the cliches that we talked about in episode 20, where, like, you know, there's a fireworks display of corpses, as Tom Dennett-Cook said, where it's like, oh, here's one body and here's another body. Somehow this killer has been able to kill them without leaving any evidence, mind you, pick them up and take them. Oh, I'll just put this one here. I'll put this one here. And then this is what will happen. And yeah, it's just
like a little arrangement, a nice little array of bodies.
Yeah.
A charcuterie board of bodies, if you will.
There you go. What the final exam and this do share is there is a corpse found in a locker, stuffed in there.
Yeah.
Although in final exam, I suppose the killer is quite strong, so I suppose he would be able to do that. But yes, the character who's found in a locker in this one is smaller and more petite. So you'd be able to imagine them being able to be put in a locker quite easy compared to Wildman.
It actually really made me laugh, like in both movies, when you see the kind of locker scene, because especially in Final Exam, it just looks so fake. He's sort of facing away from the camera and he's sort of standing in the locker. And it's just like, you know, they sort of just wedged him in there and he's got to obviously hold himself up in there.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is that these murders are very random, because you would think, like, okay, so you've got a film, it's about a track team, and the film would be about them, like they would be the main characters.
Yeah.
You kind of get to know them a little bit before they die. So there's another section of Free Video Nasty, Happy Birthday to Me, which is a similar sort of plot. It's not about an athletics team, but it's more about a group of students at a college or university, whatever. But yeah, the film's about them. So it's about their characters. Whereas a lot of characters in this, they were there at the start, and then you won't see them for like an hour, and then they'll just appear, and then they die. And you're like, okay. So like, there's a random sort of football player who gets killed by football with a spike on it. As you do. Okay, interesting.
Because it's in keeping with the theme, you know, and they had him in his like quarterback sort of kit, you know. Yeah,
at least when Linnea Quigley's character died, it's like, well, we've seen her a couple of times at least try and seduce this creepy music teacher.
Which, by the way, was hilarious. I love that guy. It's just so bad. And Linnea's role for this whole film is just to be a hoe, basically. Yeah.
Use a hoe, yeah, sure.
Yeah, use a hoe.
Yeah, but so at least when she dies, like, oh, okay, and she was smoking pot and making out with her boyfriend.
Yeah, and flirting with other men and teachers, and
basically, and
seducing teachers.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the killer, who it is. So this is spoilers for like who the killer is. So if you don't want to know who the killer is, please skip the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So the killer is the boyfriend of the girl who died at the start of the film. So Laura. So it's her boyfriend, who, by the way, absolutely hilarious. This guy's meant to be a student, but he's the oldest looking student I've ever seen. Like, he looks like he could be my age, and that's not an exaggeration. Like, yeah, I don't know. Just hilarious. And yeah, because he wasn't really in there, and like he was the only one who hadn't really been killed, it's like, well, it's not going to be Christopher George, is it? So Kevin is his character's name. So yeah, it's Kevin. Like Home Alone. Yeah.
Well, I was split between two. So I actually thought that this was going to be the sister. I just thought that they were going to have a female killer, and then it turned out not to be that. So.
But then when you have like the scene at the end, she then becomes kind of the final girl, which feels very unearned, given how like little she is in this film.
Agree.
Where like, yeah, she's fighting with this guy, and because she's in the Navy,
yeah,
she can kick ass. So she's not
obviously she knows kung fu.
Yeah, exactly, like Neo in the Matrix. So she's obviously not gonna be like the character in Final Exam. She's not gonna just run away and be like, oh, I must be saved by a man. Like, no, she like does kick this guy in the balls and kind of kill him until he comes back and he's not actually dead and all this type of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
It's ridiculous. Another really hilarious bit was like this kind of flashback. So she's running away, and she's running from the school, and she's running across the track where Laura died. And they're doing this kind of crazy match cut thing where it's flashing back from her now running away from the killer across the track to Laura when she died, and it's just splicing back and forth, and it's so cheesy, and there's a lot of slow motion cheesiness in this movie also.
That's the editor just having a grand old time. Like, he must have just been left to his own devices. So it's like, yep, I'm just going to do all this crazy shit in there.
And then there's this crazy bit where he's like kept her body in his room, and
that part is hilarious.
Dressed up in this graduation gown and cap, which really weirdly, I don't know if this is just in America, but it's like a lemon yellow colour. Whereas in the UK, we just always have kind of black with an accent colour.
Yeah,
it's traditional.
That's very American. Yeah.
So it's like yellow satin gown and graduation cap, and she's sat there, and it's like all this like black makeup around her eyes and lips, like she's a rotted, like old, rotten corpse.
Well, yeah, she would be, because I mean, bear in mind, like the start of the film, there's like a 2-month or so jump after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think her body would be more rotted than that.
Yeah,
I think
pretty poor makeup, so you can imagine it just looks like Black Panda eyes, really.
Yeah, I think Herb Fried obviously is a big fan of Psycho, because this just reminds me of Psycho, basically, and like a lot of the music near the end as well.
Yeah,
is Psycho.
And he tries to make her sister kiss her and says you should kiss the bride because he wanted to get married to her, which is just bizarre. It's like weird.
Sure. I mean, so I mean, his motivation does make sense.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird that he would go completely crazy. Although I got the part I laughed at the most is where like the body and him just go flying out the window
for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, literally no reason.
It's like, how did you get over there? You didn't need to go out the window. So it was nowhere near them.
This corpse has been like launched with so much force that it would take him and her smash through a window. It's just hilariously funny.
It's so crazy.
And it's like, he only felt like one story, so he's obviously not going to be dead, is he? So
no.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, anyway, so overall, it's not a very good film. Like, there's lots of things you can poke at it and say that are not great. Like, a lot of the characters they focus too much on kind of the principal.
Yeah.
And Blondie, like, I don't know why they spend so much time on them. Like, the film is like nearly 100 minutes long. Like, you could definitely cut 10 minutes out of this film.
It's really strange because most of it's about the students anyway. So.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
Like there's some pretty cool music running throughout this in a cheesy kind of sense, like really fun. I liked seeing what would come next. The outro music is pretty fun too, and then they got this really cheesy freeze frame over the banner that says Happy Graduation Day at the end, which is just so predictable. It's like, of course you were going to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, look, if you are a slasher connoisseur, shall we say, then you probably would have seen this already. But if you're not, this is one of your, as we'd call them, like calendar slashers or like, big event slashers, because they all were made into slasher films at some point. And it's got all the cliches. Like, it's got the subjective camera work, and it's got like point of view shots from the killer's perspective, and it's got nudity, and it's got some deaths that are a little bit violent. We're not in Lucio Fulci territory,
no,
any stretch of the imagination, but they're more graphic than Final Exam.
Yeah,
I'll say that. And look, it's cheesy, but at least you kind of can have fun with it, I guess.
And Troma did distribute it, so yeah, there is that as well.
Now, unlike Final Exam, if you want to watch this, you have so many options that I don't even have time to list all of them.
Oh, wow.
So on streaming in this country and America, you can watch it on Amazon, Shudder, Plex. And in America, you can watch it on Tubi, Foursome, AMC, Screenbox, and, makes most sense, Troma Now, and many others.
Uncle Lloydie.
So many others that if you want to watch this, you really have no excuse. Like, literally any kind of streaming service you have, pretty much, apart from like Netflix, because of course Netflix are never going to have a film like this on there, are they?
Did you say it is on Shudder? Because I would imagine it is.
It is on Shudder. Yeah, it's on Shudder all over the world, because I checked, and so if you've got a Shudder account, that's the one to use. If you want to buy it on Blu-ray, it was released by 88 Films, but it was about 10 years ago, and it's now out of print. So the only version you can now get is from Vinegar Syndrome, but it's regional, so you can buy it and own it. And if you're a slasher aficionado, then you'll probably have fun with this one. It's from the golden age of slashers, so it's got all the cliches and whatever. You can have fun with it. It's a beer and pizza film.
Yeah.
You can have fun with it with your mates.
Yeah, I had a good laugh.
Cool. So that is the show for today. I want to thank Rhea, as always, for talking about two not great films, but it's always fun talking about it with my friend here.
Yeah.
As always.
We watched it, so you don't have to if you don't want to.
No, although, I mean, Final Exam, we took the bullet for you on that one. But Graduation Day you can have some fun with. My name is Greg Knox. She is Rhea Fend. If you would like to subscribe to us, please do. We are on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Amazon Music, and we're on YouTube, of which we're doing quite a lot of stuff. We're doing polls, doing individual posts. We've got all the film reviews on there. We've got the full episodes on there. So you please hit us with a like, give us a subscribe. It all adds up. It means a lot.
Please unfuck the algorithm on YouTube by just listening to anything on YouTube for us. That would be amazing. We would love you for that.
Yeah, and if you are on YouTube, I only found out about this the other day. There is a new thing on YouTube called restricted mode, which some people have just switched on automatically. And what that does is it stops people listening to or being able to see adult themed videos. So please switch that off, because then you'll be able to see our videos.
And not when the kids are around.
No, definitely. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Instagram as Lament Horror. We're on Twitter X as Lament Horror. We're on Facebook as Lament Horror. So follow us on all those different platforms.
I have been your other host, Rhea Fend, and I'm also on Instagram as @Rhea_Fend. Threads, Twitter, X, and Facebook as well, Rhea Fend. So you can find me on there, and both of us are on Letterboxd. Mine's Rhea Fend, and Greg's on there, as he said, as Worst 8 Movies on Letterboxd, and we love Letterboxd, so give us a follow on there. You can see what we're watching for upcoming episodes, so you get a sneaky little preview.
Yeah, and you can see what we rated. So Rhea giving Final Exam 3 out of 10, essentially.
Graduation Day, we both gave 2 stars.
Yes.
Out of 5.
Little bit better, but still not great.
Yeah.
And we will see you out with some very, very cheesy but awesome music from Graduation Day.
Toodaloo.